Hi everybody, it's Heather, and this particular video is going to be a how to wash your wig video. Now this is by no means the only way to go about washing your wig. There are lots of different ways to wash depending on what kind of hair it is, your personal preference of products, how much time you have, how dry your hair is. There are all kinds of variables that can go into this, and everybody's got their own method. This is what has worked best for me over the years. What's prompted me to make this video is that I put out that video about the Beauty Mark products and then realized, well, that's a pretty negative approach to just say what I don't like and not say what I do like. So this is pretty much the other side of that coin. And today I'm going to be washing two different wigs. I'm going to be washing my John Renault Kristen wig, and I'm also going to be washing a wig for a customer. Someone bought a Madison in dark brown from me from my clearance section, and I noticed it has a little bit of static buildup in the hair, so I'm going to wash it before I send it to her. She's given me her consent to kind of get rid of some of that static, so that way when she opens it up, she can just plop it right on her head, and it's good to go. So first off, I'd like to tell you some of the things that I've tried over the years. First of all, yes, I wasn't lying. I have tried the Beauty Mark products, and I really don't like them. Now, I have heard good things about the shaping cream, and I agree. The shaping cream is quite nice. And, you know, for what it is, this holding spray is nice, too. It's just, when it dries, it's a little stiff for my liking. I'm not a big fan of very stiff hairsprays. And on top of that, the smell is not good. At least not on the styling spray. The smell is not good. So when I was complaining about the smell, this is what I was talking about specifically, was the styling spray. It just has a really nasty smell to it. So I've noticed that if I use this particular washing style on the hair, I don't need to use the spray, because the main problem I was having, and the main reason why I was using the spray to begin with, were flyaways. And though, if I get close, you can kind of see there's some little ones up here. It's not nearly what it used to be. This, by the way, is my Orchid wig by Aesthetica. It's a really pretty wig. I kind of like wearing it all off to the side like this. So I have tried this product, and it works okay for what it is. It just has a really sneaky smell to it. Another thing that I've used before, I have used Brandywine brand products before, and the smell of these products is not terrible. It just smells a little bit like, you know, old folks' homey. A little bit like, you know, that really benign, weird, generic soap smell. This stuff works okay. I've used all of their products before. This is the deodorizing spray. If you don't like the smell, the deodorizing spray doesn't really do much for you. And as you can tell by me shaking it, I don't know if you can hear that, this bottle is full. I don't like the smell. So I hardly ever use that particular product. But I have used that line, and they're okay. My favorite brand of care products is, and this might be kind of controversial, is Terra. And they sell this at beauty supply stores. I got this one at Sally Beauty. The smell is quite nice. I'm really sensitive to scent. So anything that's that close to my nose has to smell good, or else I'm just going to go nuts. So this stuff smells really nice. But then again, I only use the products very minimally. In fact, the only two products I use from this line are, well, three products: shampoo, conditioner, and they have a leave-in conditioning spray. And this one gets the most usage, the leave-in conditioner spray, as I'll show you in just a second. And then there's another product I use for my curly-haired wigs. And this, again, might be kind of controversial, but bear with me. I use Paul Mitchell's Round Trip just on my curly wigs, and only on the bottom of the hair fibers. It is not paraben-free, but it has a very low alcohol content, and it does not leave a sticky film or residue on the hair. And even the parabens are rather low on the content list. Now, the reason why I even advocate using this, and the reason why I even mention it, is because curly-haired wigs have a texture all their own. you know, and sometimes they can even have a mind of their own. And they seem to frizz and fray a lot faster than wavy or straight fiber wigs. The way that I use this is I just take a very, 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 very small amount of it. And I just rub it in my fingers, and I just put it on the very, very bottoms. And what it does is it helps separate the hairs so that they don't tangle quite as bad. It's a nice product to apply when the hair is wet. Don't be too forceful when you're applying it, and again, only on the bottoms, because it is not paraben free, and the last thing you want to do is have excess buildup in places where, you know, it could shorten the lifespan of your wig. But on the very ends, especially on curly wigs, those are the first things to fray and fry. So this actually, I find, is quite protective against that on the ends. Now, there are certain things that people do that can be kind of drastic to try to restore the hair. And so now I'm going to get to my main point. When I wash my wigs, I don't use shampoo. I don't use anything that has any kind of astringent properties. I don't even use woolite. And sorry, you can hear my cat eating. The reason for this is because with synthetic wigs specifically, the fibers are non-porous. And when the fibers are non-porous, that means that if you leach the moisture out of the fibers, there's no physical way to get that moisture back into the fiber. Once it's gone, it's gone. So the last thing you want to do is strip the hair. That's why you can't use heat. That's why you're not supposed to use the paraben containing products or products that have a lot of alcohol in them, because anything that takes the moisture out of your hair is going to prematurely warp and damage the fibers to the point where the wig is unusable anymore, or you just have to cut a ton of it off to make it look okay again. So what I do and what I use, and forgive me that everything in this video shows up backwards, Snuggle. I love Snuggle, but really any fabric softener will work. What I do is, well, the first step is I clean the entire sink, because the last thing you want is any kind of food particles or anything like that getting into the hair, because that'd be gross. So clean it really well, scrub it, you know, and then fill up a sink with cold water. It could be warm-ish. If you've got a particularly dirty wig, like say you've been around a smoker, or you've been clubbing and your wig's all sweaty and stinky. Because I don't use shampoo, every once in a while I will use a little bit of slightly warmer water, but never hot. It always works best with cool water. And just half of a capful to an entire tub or sink full of water. So when you add it to the water should not be opaque. It'll get cloudy, but it won't. You'll still be able to see through to the bottom of the sink. Because you don't want to use too much of the fabric softener. The fabric softener in and of itself does have astringent properties to it, so it should be sufficient to get the hair clean without actually stripping the fiber out. So all I do is, here's my Kristen wig. First of all, I turn the wig inside out, and I just dunk it very gently. You can kind of hear it bubbling. And in a second, when I get the second wig in there and dry my hands off, I'll tilt the sink down, tilt the camera down so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Just a second, I'll wipe my hands off. And now I'm going to grab the Madison and put it in there with it. There's no reason why you can't do them at the same time. Here's Madison. And as you can see by some of the hair sticking up, there's a little bit of static in this wig. So just to help out with that, we're going to take care of this. And that's the great thing about the fabric softener. Not only is it gentle, but it smells great, and it cuts down on that static, so the flyaways and everything. And the friction on the individual hairs gets minimized because static enhances that friction and contributes to the wear of your wig over time. So, dry this off. I'm going to tilt the camera just a little bit.
so you can kind of see what's going on. So now you can see that the wigs are immersed in the water. I didn't do anything to them. They're just kind of hanging out there. And you don't really have to do much. I'd let them sit for about 5 minutes. And then when that's done, I fill up the second sink basin, but if you only have a single sink basin, you can drain that. Fill it up with cold water, rinse the wigs very gently, and all I do there, again, I just dunk it and soak them there for a couple minutes. And then I take them out, don't wring them. And then when that's done, after, they've drip dried a little bit, but not completely, then I take the leave-in conditioner by Terra, which is wonderful and is safe for synthetics. All the Terra products for extensions, they're marketed for extensions, but they are synthetic hair safe. I take this stuff and I liberally spray it on the ends while the wig is still wet. And then I very, very gently take my hands and just kind of gently, superficially brush it through. You don't want to actually dig into your hair with your hands. You don't want to comb it. You don't want to do anything that's going to pull the fibers while the hair is wet, because it's not like human hair. It will snap, it will stretch, it will lose its shape, it will lose its moisture. Lots of bad things can happen when the hair is wet. So you want to make sure that when you're gently stroking the hair and getting that moisturizer into the ends, that you're not pulling. There's no tension in your hands. You're just very gently and in a very relaxed fashion kind of smoothing it over the superficial ends of the hair and the top of the hair. And then turn the cap inside out, put it on a head form to dry. If the person has a petite head, you might not want to put it on a head form. You might want to come up with something to hang it on so that way it doesn't lose its shape or get too loose, because you can really stretch the caps out when they're wet. And then your hair will be great. It'll be beautiful. The hair will be shiny. It'll smell really awesome, and you won't have as many flyaways. So in a nutshell, that's what I use. I only use all of 2 products most of the time. Just good old-fashioned fabric softener and a little bit of synthetic safe leave-in conditioner. The rest is just water and time. And usually most synthetic wigs will dry overnight, as long as you've hung them up appropriately in a place that's well ventilated. So there you go. In a nutshell, that's how I take care of my hair, with a couple of exceptions, like with the curly wigs. So if you ever have any questions, let me know. Again, everybody's got a different method that works for them, and sometimes some wigs need more care than others. Like I was alluding to earlier, I know this video is getting really long, but some people like to use heat on the ends of fried wigs to try to reseal the fibers, because like I said, once a synthetic fiber has frayed at the bottoms, or has started to fall apart, or has been stretched out, or has lost its moisture, you can theoretically use like a straightening iron on a non-heat friendly wig to try to reseal the ends of the fibers. I've also seen people use boiling water to reseal the fibers, but it's hit or miss whether or not it'll work. And personally, if I spent, more than $150 on a wig, like this particular wig, I believe was $220. If I spend a fair amount of money on a wig, the last thing I want to do is risk ruining it by applying heat to it, which can happen and does happen, especially if you're not familiar with the right temperature to use and how long to apply the heat and that sort of thing. It is more of an art than a science kind of thing. So if you're not comfortable doing that, and if you've never tried it before, I would not suggest doing it. Not unless you've got a wig that's so darn wrecked that you couldn't possibly do any further damage to it by attempting to try to revive it. So there's my 2 cents. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully it sounds like, something, a routine you're familiar with. And if you have any tips of your own that you'd like to contribute to the subscribers of my videos, please put it in the comments. I'm open to any suggestions. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Bye-bye.